the radio presenter on BBC Radio 4, Nigel, what's his second name?
Rees.
That's it, Nigel Rees, who quit the BBC after 46 years of presenting this show, assisting on Mike's amazing show this morning. And this guy basically said, I used to pick the guests, I used to pick the songs, I used to pick the questions and whatever I did. And then memos started to come from the higher echelons of the BBC. It's all about the diversity drive. The BBC can absolutely stand accused, can it not, of becoming the... Do you remember the comedy series with, come on, Mr. Downton, what's he called? Somebody help me out. The guy that plays the boss in Downton. Have you seen the W1A comedy series on the BBC? He's head of diversity, and they go into rooms like the Quran, and they go into rooms like, the Bible, and it's so politically correct. That is what the BBC is like, isn't it? It's getting ridiculous. And I watch it, and okay, this radio station's about, common sense and people having a shout, and some people would say, oh, well, it's not right that you should... Well, I think you should have an opinion. I get the feeling that the BBC is almost trying to condition every single person that works there and almost every single person that watches it. Do you
And
not agree?
it's demonstrable as well. The Campaign for Common Sense carried out all sorts of research showing Brexit bias in the selection of comedians. We also saw not that long ago, 2019, there was another resignation that people probably won't remember, but from Thought of the Day, Lord Singh.
Yes.
He resigned because he'd wanted to talk about a particular Sikh guru who had, I believe he had fought against the forced conversion of Sikhs to Islam, and under pressure, censorship, essentially bias against that, because there was a perceived fear that it would be offensive to Muslims. He then resigned over that as well. So this isn't the first resignation of this kind. And he's absolutely right in saying that he's, if he's concerned that from above he's having these sort of mandated quotas, and he feels that he isn't able to have on the right guests, the highest guests of the highest possible quality, because they're having to be shunted into these identity categories. And he made another point which I think is absolutely right, because I feel this way, and I'm very rare that I will use this phrase, as a woman. I would find it very offensive to think that I had been selected to be on a show because I fall into a particular identity category.
Where does this all end, though? I know they laugh at me through the glass. You're 56 and you get agitated. I mean, Carlin Tamble says the BBC don't represent the vast majority of the public anymore. This box-ticking exercise is an absolute shambles. I couldn't care less who the person is if they're the right person for the job. Now, to me, that makes absolute common sense. I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day, and he said, Jez, there's no point in railing against what's happened, because it's generational, and it's not going to change. Maybe for 30, 40 years, and we'll be long gone. It has to go the other way at some point. I am absolutely for diversity. I'm aware everybody should get an opportunity, and we should open up lines of communication. But does it not strike you that it's gone so far the other way that we're now at the other end of the spectrum, and that can only be dangerous in the long run, can't it?
Yeah, and I think that there are, to say that it's generational, I'm not so sure. I think there are many people in my generation, ethnic minorities as well, people who are, within various minority groups, who don't agree with the prescription of the sort of person that they're supposed to be because they fall into certain identity categories. And I think that is discriminatory, and that has to fall apart at some point. I would like to think that it would be inevitable. And I also think that people are getting sick of it, partly because it drives down the quality of entertainment is one example of this, that trying to make everything fit a particular worldview, particular ideology makes it very one-dimensional, and so things are losing their depth and they cease to be entertaining.
Comedians are too scared to tell jokes. People are too scared to have an offbeat response to something. I jokingly said Danny Dyer's name was Malcolm, and the fear on the face is through, Danny Dyer might send his agents through to say that my name isn't Malcolm. So what? I just fear sometimes that people... we talk about free speech, and we talk about the right to have an opinion. I meet too many people in this business now who are too scared to do that. And maybe you get to an age where, you're brave enough to do that. But broadcasters, people on television, I mean, too scared to give an opinion. What's the point of being on television or radio then?
I think that I would like to think that ultimately the market would decide that people want opinion they
But then
want.
people in the BBC would say to you, that would not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about audience. If we've ticked every single box, everything's fine. It doesn't matter if only 4 people watch it. Doesn't matter about stuff that works.
So
And
long-
I've got my own personal example of that. I'm not going to. It doesn't matter about how many people watch it. If it doesn't fit a criteria now, the world has changed.
So long as there's good competition like talk radio, then I think that, audiences will flock to the places where they get the truth, where they get real hard-hitting journalism, and that I would like to think that people will vote with their eyes and their ears